But see, it boils down to that age-old question. Who am I? Am I the characters that I've bought into, even the religious character? Am I these characters? Is that me? Or is that a particular character that I'm particularly wearing for a particular part of my life when I have this particular insight, understanding, and mindset? We really have to come to the point where we realize that we are not our bodies. That we are inside. That no matter what changes this body goes through, that is not us. Now, oftentimes the changes that our body goes through is a result of our self-perception, because we begin manifesting that which we believe that we are. That's why the music industry is so successful in influencing our young people, because the young people are convinced that this is who I am. But they've simply bought into the environment. They bought into that suggestion. And they begin to adorn their bodies with whatever adornment, clothing, paraphernalia that's required to become that which they perceive themselves to be. But it's not. They're not that. And so I was presenting this on Facebook the other day, and I said, if we want to be well, we have to realize that we are not our bodies. That we have to disassociate ourselves from our bodies in order to be the director of our bodies. If we want to be well, if we want to be successful. We are not. See, we're going just the opposite. We're looking at this thing that we've bought into and we're saying, this is me, but this is not me. This is a particular character that I bought into. So if I'm overweight, I'm saying I'm fat. Or if I'm on drugs, I'm addicted. Or if I just can't get it together, I'm a failure. We have all these labels that we bought into based on what we are representing. And so we believe that this is what we are. But what I'm suggesting to you, this is not what you are. You are inside. You're an entity that is not fat or skinny. You're an entity that is not a failure or a success. You're an entity that is not addicted or addicted. Okay, you are just existing with the ability to determine what it is you want this body to be. But as long as you're buying into what you think you are, you're not going to change because you believe this is what you are. Now, my wife said, you're getting too new age-ish with that, that sounds like new age. I'm like, this is the reality. This is even what the religions teach. Why do you think there is prayer? Okay, what's praying? Is it your body that's praying? No. It's that part of that inside of you that's praying. Why do some of the religions teach you to fast? So you can, demonstrate to your body that you are in control, and you're not going to respond simply because of hunger, because you are inside, you are in control. It's that concept. The Bible talks about to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. It doesn't say to be absent from the body and then you make a journey and finally get to where the Lord is. No, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. Because this housing, this case is not you. You're inside. When Scripture tells us in the book of Genesis that God was wanting to create man in the image of God, and then God breathed into him the breath of life and man became a living soul. Well, what was that breath of life? That breath of life was God. God simply placed himself in that man. So what you have, all of us walking around, is we are God's breath in flesh. We are God. God is a spirit. We are the manifestation of our source on this planet. When the Bible tells you that man is created in the image of God, well, what does that even mean? We are the image of God on earth. How is that? Because God is in us. The alive part of us, the breath of life part of us, the conscious part of us, the alive part of us, that's the God part. And the rest of us is simply this, what Scripture calls an earthen vessel, the destructible part. And that's why we can be so many characters but still be that same individual. And recognizing the power of God, that the power of God, the ability that God has to create, we can create whatever it is we envision ourselves to be. But that which we are is inside. But this body is what we create. And we see it in so many characters that we portray, even in one life, like me. But see, this is where our wellness lies. And until we begin to rid ourselves of believing anything that doesn't measure up to what I already believe is New Age, we're not going to find too much success. That's why we find so many people in the world that don't even embrace a particular religion are very successful. Because they believe that they are the directors of their own destiny. But see, as religious folks, we have this particular mindset that automatically we have restricted ourselves even within a religion that doesn't allow ourselves to grow, allow ourselves to even see the ability or the potential that we have, because we are actually God in flesh. For real. So I can look at myself and I can say, hey, I want to change this body. I'm not going to change me. Me is the one that wants to change this body. And I can do it. Because I'm not fat. I'm not any of that. But I'm going to make sure this body is not fat. I'm not addicted. I'm not addicted. I'm none of those things. I am the director. I am in control of this body. And so I'm going to make it happen, whatever I desire it to be. And when you really consider the connection that we have with God, and that our total conscious reality is God, God breathed into us the breath of life and we became a living soul. We are that. That's why your scripture tells you that you are all God's. Not in a sacrilegious or any kind of anti-God mindset. I see people all the time, in arguments on social media trying to discredit folks that are consciously attracted to God by, it says you're all God's. What does that mean? It means we all have within us that breath of life, that God connection, and without the God in us, we would not exist. Embrace that and recognize we have the same creative ability that God has for these bodies, for our situations, for our environments, but we have to realize that. People are always talking about, especially in the religion, about, be careful what you say because of the powers of your words and all that, blah, 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 blah. It's got nothing to do with what you say and the power of your words. It's got to do with what you believe. Okay? So we do this all the time. We say, and we say things all the time to try to make stuff happen. But it's not what you say. It's what you're believing. And it's assumed, even in those type scriptures referring to the power of an individual's word, is that the words that an individual is speaking is what they actually believe. But we don't. We don't, because we can't, because we've bought into that this is, even as a Christian, or as a Muslim, or as a Jew, this is who I am, this is what I am. The moment you have determined that this is what you are, you've shut off your potential for creativity, because you've simply bought into the particular character that you're playing right now, and that isn't you. And until you have freed yourself from this particular character, you're trapped within the character that you've created.